If you want to learn cybersecurity today, day one feels less like learning and more like drowning. You are immediately hit with a wall of networking protocols, command line syntax, and an endless list of software you supposedly need to master. You have the legacy staples, Nmap, Wireshark, Metasploit, tools that have been used on professional engagements for decades. And right next to them, you have a daily barrage of shiny new AI frameworks promising to do all the heavy lifting for you. Time to learn all of these equally right out of the gate leads directly to tutorial hell. You end up watching hours of videos without actually knowing how to test a system, which quickly ends in burnout. To fix this, we need to strip away the mystique of the hacker toolkit. Instead of asking what the pros use, we have to evaluate these tools purely on the return on investment of your learning time. This chart maps out that exact core framework. On the horizontal axis, we measure the learning curve, how many hours you need to input to gain competence. On the vertical axis, we measure the real-world utility, your practical outcome in finding and exploiting vulnerabilities. Time is your only limiting currency. Investing months into a piece of software that doesn't yield practical results sets your career back before it even begins. Every engagement starts with reconnaissance. Before you can look for weaknesses, you have to map the target environment. That brings us to Nmap. It is a command line scanner that pings IP addresses to show you exactly what servers are live and which ports I open on a network. The trade-off with Nmap is highly favorable. Memorizing a few basic discovery commands gives you immediate actionable targets. But spending weeks trying to memorize every obscure scripting flag yields rapidly diminishing returns. So on our framework, Nmap lands in the moderate learning curve high utility section. Compare that to Wireshark, the industry standard for deep packet analysis. Instead of just showing open doors, it gives you granular visibility into the microscopic traffic flowing through them. But to actually understand that traffic, you have to spend hundreds of hours studying raw networking protocols. For a beginner, staring at endless lines of TCP and UDP packets is agonizing. Packet-level comprehension is vital for advanced troubleshooting later on, but spending your first 100 hours in Wireshark before finding a single bug is a terrible ROI for an aspiring bug bounty hunter. It carries an extreme learning curve for a very niche initial utility. Once you have mapped a network, you transition from passive observation to active exploitation at the application layer. For web applications, Burp Suite is the tool of choice. It acts as a proxy, allowing you to intercept, pause, and manually modify HTTP traffic between your browser and the target server. There is a high cognitive cost here. The free Community Edition lacks automated scanning features. Because it won't point out the bugs for you, you are forced to learn the underlying mechanics of SQL injections and cross-site scripting by hand. It is a steep climb, but that forced manual learning pays massive dividends. That puts Burp Suite firmly in the high learning curve, maximum utility quadrant. Now look at automated exploit frameworks like Metasploit or password crackers like John the Ripper. These platforms offer instant gratification. They allow you to weaponize thousands of pre-built payloads against outdated systems with a few keystrokes. It looks impressive, but it creates a false sense of skill. Because the software does the work for you, your outcome is brittle. The moment a target system is patched or a payload fails, you hit a wall because you lack the foundational comprehension to adapt. That brings us to the newest entrance and the current hype cycle, trying to bypass manual exploitation entirely using specialized artificial intelligence. We are now seeing AI explicitly designed to model and study self-propagating threats, like Worm GPT. On the defensive side, tools like Bug Hunter GPT are being used to rapidly generate proof-of-concept code. These look like the ultimate time savers, but they introduce a severe risk: hallucination reliance. If you rely on an AI without having manual fundamentals, you cannot verify the code it gives you. You have no way of knowing if the generated payload is actually effective, stealthy, or safe to run against a real target. AI is a massive efficiency multiplier for seasoned experts, but for beginners, it acts as a dangerous crutch that prevents the acquisition of actual, adaptable skills. The pattern here is consistent. The tools that do the most work for you teach you the least, while the tools that teach you the most are the hardest to learn. This chart acts as our blueprint. We map these tools into a chronological decision tree, dictating exactly when to learn them. Phase 1 is the starting point. Invest your first 100 hours exclusively into Nmap for recon and Burp Suite for manual web mechanics. During this phase, you should actively avoid using Metasploit or AI tools to execute any attack that you couldn't theoretically perform manually. Phase 2 begins once those fundamentals are locked in. You can now introduce Metasploit and Wireshark to build your network-level comprehension and troubleshooting resilience. Finally, you hit Phase 3, the efficiency multiplier. Now you can safely introduce AI tools like Bug Hunter GPT. In this phase, AI is used strictly to speed up writing the code for vulnerabilities you have already identified manually. The true capability of a cybersecurity professional is not measured by the shiny frameworks they can deploy. Instead, it is measured by their foundational ability to adapt and troubleshoot when those automated tools inevitably fail.